So let's work around here somewhere. Get a flat bit. So, Bo, you've not done any Alexander work before, so you've no idea what we're doing here.
No.
That doesn't matter. I haven't got time to give you a complete explanation of Alexander work, but you can find lots of information out about that elsewhere, because we want to actually work here today and see what changes we can make. So I'll just give you a kind of light explanation.
Okay.
And basically what we're going to be working on is encouraging you to come into balance, to find a place of stillness within yourself.
Okay.
And a lot of that depends on what's going on here, the balance between your head and your neck. And there's a balancing mechanism there that's very important. And we override that mechanism a lot of the time by adding in a lot of muscle tension, usually in this area. So what we're going to look at is trying to get this to work a little bit better. And then from that, the rest of it becomes a little more aligned and in balance. And even though we were looking at your hypermobility, it's about changing your thought and sending different directions through the body. So even if someone is, we tend to think that being relaxed is what we want to be, but in fact being relaxed isn't, you just kind of fall over if you were completely relaxed.
Yeah.
What we're looking for is muscle tone. So it's where the muscles are ready for action, but they're not over tight. It's like the ideal medium point. So that's the kind of thing we're working towards. And so let's see what happens in practice. Now what I'm going to do is if it's okay with you, it involves me putting my hands on you.
Okay.
And it involves you in thinking.
Okay.
So let's do it and see what happens. So to begin with, I want you to stand with your feet sort of shoulder width apart. Okay, so a little bit closer together. Just close the legs a little bit. That's it, brilliant. And I'm just going to put my hands on you. And I'm going to be encouraging you to mostly do less. Are you ticklish?
Yes.
Oh my God, okay. So even that is tickle?
Yes.
That tickles? Okay, brilliant. Good start. Okay, now just see if you can stand, just let the arms release and drop. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slightly realign you. I'm just taking a look at what's happening. So hopefully it won't be too tickly. That's it. So I just brought your hips back a little bit so that you're a bit more aligned. And what I'd like you to do now is use your mind to think around the body, and I want you to imagine that your head is floating up into my top hand. Good shot of the ground.
Yeah, that's it.
The camera just fell.
No, that's it. It wouldn't be a shoot without that happening at least once.
Okay, so your head's coming up into my top hand. That's it. That is ticklish as well. Okay, we're going to minimum hands-on work.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologise. Don't apologise. So let the shoulders soften. Okay. Is that tickly?
That's okay.
Okay, so just think about the hips softening.
How?
Well, just
What
notice.
is hip softening?
Exactly. Notice my hands there,
Yes.
right? And just notice the feeling of my hands on your hips.
What does that do in terms of softening?
Well,
I don't get.
okay, it's okay. It's okay. Just notice that your hips are there.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to put my hands on your shoulders. So as I put my hands on your shoulders, what happened there is you sort of pulled them back and tightened them. Is that, because that's tickling?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to put my hands above your shoulders without touching them. And I want you to imagine that, and I'm asking you to think certain thoughts. Now those thoughts may or may not connect with you in any way. So what we're doing is we're just thinking around trying to find what does connect with you. So what I'd like you to do is just imagine that your arms are quite heavy. Okay. So now what you notice is that when I bring your attention to your arms,
It goes down.
what you do with them is this.
Oh,
Okay. So what I'd like you to do is not do that.
Okay.
Okay, don't do that. Just think of your arms. Notice your arms. You can feel them. You just tune into them. And without doing any movement, because any movement you do there like that is just adding in extra tension. So what I want you to do is just to think of your arms just hanging there. Just notice that they're hanging there.
Yeah.
And even imagine that they're quite heavy. And then come to your head, and I want you to, again, just try and ignore my hands. And then imagine that your head floats.
Sorry, my hair moved to my ear.
You are so tickly.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Just imagine that your head floats up into my top hand.
Yes.
And can you feel my hand there?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's quite a good job you've got your helmet on. I normally ask people to take it off, but in your case, it's probably a good idea. So your head floats up into my hand. And then just bring your mind back again to what's happening with your arms without feeling the need to move them or wave them around or do anything with them. Just noticing that they're actually there and then asking yourself, could they feel any heavier? Could they hang a bit more heavily?
This side feels heavier, and this side's put on my weight.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So what we're doing is we're kind of exploring. There isn't a right, and it's not like you're trying to achieve something and get something, perfect, or be good at something. What I'm actually asking you to do is to just start to notice what's actually happening in your body, because we don't actually have a very good feedback system. We tend to think we're doing one thing and we're actually doing another, or we don't even notice and think about things. But your body is the instrument you're using in order to ride. And unless that instrument is tuned well, then the riding is going to be discordant. So in order to tune the instrument, you've got to first be aware that it exists and to get some connection with it. And then you begin to have some constructive, conscious control over it. But it takes a little while. It's like you're laying down new pathways from the brain to the body. New pathways that at the moment are probably overgrown. And the more times you go down those pathways, the clearer they become. So you have to kind of start somewhere. And initially, it's quite mussy. And it's like, well, what do you mean, let my arm be soft? Because this is probably something you maybe have never thought of before. And even if you have, the pathway at the moment is a bit overgrown. So we start to kind of clear the decks. So again, I'm not putting my hands on you.
You can if you, I might just laugh.
Well, I think if you find it disturbing, it's counterproductive, really.
Okay.
So just imagine now you can use your breathing. And what I'd like you to do is just wait, okay? What I'm going to ask you to do is to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Wait.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Now, what most people do when they breathe is try and breathe into already full lungs, which is what you just tried to do there. So the best thing to do, really, when you breathe is to breathe out first. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to release your jaw and breathe out through your mouth. When you get to the bottom of your breath, I want you to wait until the reflex happens that will make you breathe in, and then breathe in through the nose. And then when you do that, let the air come in as much as you can, and as it comes in, chest comes up, and leave it up there when you breathe out, but let the shoulders go. So releasing the shoulders, let them drop. That's it. So the breathing shouldn't really involve the shoulders. Now, breathe normally for a while. And then when you're ready, I'd like you to, again, make sure you've breathed out first through the mouth. When you get to the bottom of the breath, wait. Breathe in through the nose, but let the shoulders be not involved in this process. Focusing on the ribs expanding. The shoulders can soften. Yes. Now what I'm going to get you to do next, and I don't want you to do it straight away. The reason I keep saying stop is because in order to change, we have to do something different. If you just jump into the movement straight away, you'll do it how you always do it. So we're going to try and break that cycle by putting in a little gap between the stimulus and your response to the stimulus. Right, so that means this. I'm going to ask you to bend your knees. Already you're preparing to do it. So you think to yourself, stop. Okay? And instead of just bending your knees like you normally would, I want you to imagine that your head is floating upwards. I want you to breathe out through your mouth. When you get to the bottom of your breath, let the air come in through your nose to allow the chest to come up. And then as you breathe out, just let your knees bend from underneath you. That's it, stop there. Okay. That's very good. Now, notice that your knees are bent and see if there's possible to become soft in the bottom. So just to let your bum loose. Okay, what happened there was you moved it and adjusted it. Did you feel yourself do that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a doing. That's actually increasing the tension.
Oh.
What I'd like you to do is to not worry that nothing will happen or that it won't be right or you'll get it wrong. Don't think about those things at all. Just experiment with thinking about your bum softening. Well, you think, soften the bum and see if it does. And if it doesn't, it doesn't matter. So just think of it soft.
As in, releasing a fart time soften?
You can if you like.
No. But I'm just trying to understand the...
Doing less, just doing less.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So imagine it doing less. And you can fart if you want.
It's not wanting to fart, it's kind of, is it?
I'm kidding. Okay, that's brilliant. I'll tell you what, if you can release it enough that you can spontaneously do a fart, I will give you £10 right now. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to straighten your knees, but first I want you to stop and not do it straight away. Give yourself time to put some thought process into the movement. And what the thought I'd like you to have is to breathe, to allow the air to come into the chest hopefully without using the shoulders. And then your head float up into the top. And as you breathe out, imagine the head goes up and the hat leads you upwards. Now as you're up here, just imagine that there's almost like a wave of energy coming up the front here, and a wave of energy going down the back. So it goes like this. And the energy flowing down the back flows down and into the feet. And coming up the front there, it just opens the throat. And goes up there. Now what I'm going to do is actually ask you to sit on the horse and see what happens when we do that. Okay? Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Alison. And the problem is getting Alison off the horse.